Hey guys, 1 second here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to talk about LR Gomah and his banner that will be coming out tomorrow. His banner is releasing a little bit earlier than usual. It's like 1 AM UK time. This video is going up at, what's it going to be? It's going to be like 10 PM. So basically the banner comes out like 3 hours after this video goes live if you're watching it straight away. So we're going to talk about his banner, what potentially is going to be on it, the format of the banner, talk about his performance a little bit, and just talk about the general summoning landscape of the game as we do in all of these summon or skip videos. As always, I do say in these videos, they are largely aimed towards giving advice to free-to-play or low-spending players, because obviously you want to try and maximize the value that you're getting out of your stones. If you're a whale or a collector, like, you're probably going to be summoning regardless, so you don't really necessarily need the advice. But even if that is the case, you're watching just to get my opinion, then I appreciate that. So make sure you guys like the video, hype the video if you have the option, all that good stuff. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and jump in. So I did put up a Rainbow Level 10 Links showcase for Gomah earlier from the private server. He is very, very good. It's not a stretch at all to say that he is the best unit in the game. So obviously, when it comes to that aspect, if you're summoning for powerful characters, especially if you're somebody who, you know, there are events in the game that you still haven't beaten or that you potentially struggle with, then obviously this guy could be very beneficial to have on your account, because he will allow you to beat a bunch of these events that you potentially have not beaten before. So obviously that is a big positive, that is a big tick in the summon column for this guy. If you pull him, like, he just absolutely destroys all of the content that is currently available in the game. And we always expect some level of power creep with like the anniversary, but like, if they power creep this guy with the anniversary, considering that he's like the best unit in the game, they've basically power crept the entire game. So the anniversary content, when it comes out, even if it is difficult for a lot of the units that we currently have that are considered very good, I feel like there's almost no way that the content becomes so difficult that this guy won't be good in any of the future content, right? So in terms of summoning for him from a perspective of summoning for units who are good and who are strong and who will help you defeat difficult content, then yeah, obviously this guy is a solid option to go for when it comes to summoning for characters that are actually going to be helpful to your account. So we also know, when it comes to the banner, thanks to the data download thread from Proton, obviously being a yellow coin LR banner, this banner has the pity system with the silver coins. So you have to spend 1,000 stones worth of summons to get enough of these pity coins just straight up without any other like modifiers. But of course, the big thing to remember is that any SSRs you pull that are already rainbowed can be traded in for extra coins. Obviously that's going to depend. How useful that is depends on how like old your account is, like how many of the units you do actually have, because if you're a newer player, chances are even if you're pulling random unfeatured SSRs, you don't have them rainbow. Whereas if you are a longer term player, like for me, for example, basically like any unit that I would be pulling from this banner other than potentially like a newer featured LR, I have them all rainbow and therefore can get a bunch of extra coins. I think the average for me is like around 600 to 700 stones, plus then all the SSRs that you trade in order to get to the pity coin amount. So that is something to bear in mind, that if you are going to summon, you are at least guaranteed that you will get him if you go in a certain amount. Also remember that every third multi on these banners is guaranteed featured, so there will be people out there that just drop like 150 stones and manage to pull him. So that's something to also bear in mind. And then of course we do get the special tickets, but I talked about this in the data download video earlier today. These are from the Dokkan day, which is on the 15th. So these tickets won't even be available when he actually comes out, and you have to wait until Saturday to get those. And then there will be purchasable tickets, but again, this is something specifically like only for collectors, or like spenders, I should say, because if you're free to play, then obviously the purchasable tickets aren't going to make any difference to you. So the other big thing we need to talk about, of course, is it's not just Gomah himself, is what is the rest of the banner going to look like. So I brought up this banner here because this is the corrupted Gohan and Goten. This was the last yellow coin LR to release in the game. It's kind of crazy to think that this was literally only a month ago, like less than a month, because it was the 16th of October and this new banner's coming out on like the 13th of November. But this was the last yellow coin banner. So as we know, yellow coin banners with pity, 10 featured characters. There's usually 2 other LRs featured, and usually one of them is related to the EZA. So obviously on this banner we had the Tech Super 17. We also had Gohan and Piccolo, who were I think this was the first time they had returned on the banner. So that is another thing I've seen people talking about. The newest yellow coin LR after Gohan and Piccolo, who has not returned yet, I think, in terms of being featured on a banner, is the LR Pycon. So Pycon should probably be featured on this banner. I imagine it's going to be Gomah as the first unit, then we're going to have Pycon, and then the other featured LR, I mean obviously Super 17 there is not in the 3rd slot, but he's there on the banner. The next LR on the banner will hopefully be one that is potentially getting an EZA or Super EZA before the end of this celebration. I did a video the other day talking about units that I think could potentially get an EZA, so I guess we'll have to see. Now, yellow coin LR banners, when you just look at them, are not usually great value. Like looking at this banner, Gohan and Goten were fun units, but they weren't like the best units in the game or anything. And then you had Gohan and Piccolo, who were already kind of outdated. And then all these unfeatured SSRs, apart from Pan, are basically outdated now. Although Martian Vegeta got his Super EZA recently, so he's actually good as well. But this banner has like 3 good units on it. Gohan and Goten Super 17 and then Martian Vegeta. So in terms of value, when it comes to should you summon, where like how good is the banner, chances are the banner is not going to be particularly good. Like if we take a look at Pycon for a yellow coin LR was very good when he came out. But he is of course built around having other other World Warriors or tournament participants characters. He's providing support for them. He's still an okay unit, but he's definitely not like a top tier. He's not on Gomah's team. So, I mean, if you want to add him to your collection, that's one thing. But again, if we're talking about free-to-play or low-spending players and you're trying to decide whether to summon on this banner because Gomah is so powerful and you kind of want him, we've got to take into account the value of the rest of the banner. And pulling this guy, if you didn't have him, is probably still not super useful for like a newer player or like a free-to-play player who doesn't have a lot of like yellow coin LRs, because those are the banners usually that are the ones that are kind of easy skips if you're free-to-play, saving for the next like big Dokkan Fest LR. So I don't think, even if this guy does end up being featured, I don't think that's enough of a reason to summon on the banner just to potentially get a copy of him. Now, when it comes to the other LR, I talked about this in that EZA video, right? I think it makes sense for it to be a Demonic Power or Terrifying Conqueror's LR, ideally one who's going to be getting an EZA or a Super EZA. Now, it's a bit difficult in terms of like who's available, like who to choose from in terms of who is old enough or even relevant to fit that slot. Like in terms of an LR, I guess AGL Super Boo, is he old enough to get an EZA? I don't know. I guess it could happen, but kind of a weird fit for Gomah's team because he's another unit that really wants to get hit first, and Gomah is kind of like the slot 1 unit for his team. Everybody else is like free to play or kind of new. If we look at Terrifying Conquerors, who have we got here who could be a potential good EZA or Super EZA? I think it's too early. Bojack is the one I mentioned in my main video. Like this, in Bojack getting a Super EZA and just throw some like extreme class support into part of his passive could be really good. We talked about the cooler worldwide units, but I don't think they'll do them this early. And then obviously free-to-play characters are not going to be featured on a summonable banner. So there's not really a huge amount of options in terms of characters who could be featured on the banner because they're going to EZA or Super EZA. So I would not be surprised if the other LR on the banner is just a random other Demonic Power or Terrifying Conqueror's LR, and not even a character that necessarily has like an EZA. Or a Super EZA, or is going to get an EZA, I should say. So like somebody like AGL Golden Frieza, who got his EZA recently and is still pretty good, could be featured on the banner because he would be okay on Gomah's team, right? Wouldn't want someone like STR Turles, who at the time of release was really good, even at the time of EZA was pretty good, but is a bit too outdated to be coming out now on a banner and going on a 200% team, especially because it is only 200 and not 220. And then same with these, like there's very few summonable Extreme Demonic Power ally LRs. Buhan is of course a Dokkan Fest, so very tricky to kind of think who the other slot will be. And then unfortunately, when it comes to the other featured slots that are just SSRs, it's probably just going to be these random demonic power type characters. I'm not even sure necessarily, like, it'd be interesting if the Xenoverse characters were on there, because we're obviously hoping that they might get an easy A before the end of November. But for demonic power, you look a lot of these characters, and a lot of them are just banner units, like then, and a lot of them are Dokkan Fest, so obviously they wouldn't be featured. But characters that we talked about in that Easy A video, Deborah, there's the Garlic Jr. Like, if Garlic Jr. is featured on the LR banner, I could see that as a high chance of him potentially getting an Easy A. The Giant Form Lord Slug, and then Terrifying Conquerors. Like, there's quite a lot of random TURs that could end up being featured on the banner that will just fit onto his team without necessarily being anything too crazy. Obviously, Garlic Jr. there again. I think Garlic Jr. is still the ultimate option for a unit to Easy A during this celebration, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. So when it comes to the overall layout of the banner, I would say very much do not expect this banner to be very good in terms of overall value and quality. Like I say, it should be Gomah, probably Pycon, and then it's going to be another either Demonic Power or Terrifying Conquerors LR. And unless it's Bojack and he's getting a super Easy A, I don't think it's going to be a unit that is potentially Easy Aing. And then you can see here, just from the other unfeatured SSRs, like that Future Trunks, the Gotenks, the Tech Baby, AGL Trenchcoat 17, like only really the physical Pan is still one of the meta usable units out of those SSRs. So in terms of banner value, I would not expect that to be particularly very high, right? So overall, when it comes to the question of summon or skip, it is one of those ones where I would describe this as being like a hard skip, because in the sense that I do think you should skip this banner, but it just feels hard to skip it because the unit is just so good. The banner itself, as we said, not particularly great, so you're not really missing out in terms of that aspect. But yeah, this guy's going to be super good, super fun. It'll be a while for him to come back and be featured on a banner. He will be unfeatured on the anniversary carnival banners, so bear that in mind, of course, if you are still trying to stay the course and stay strong and keep all of your stones ready for the anniversary summon fund. Then obviously this guy could pop up as an unfeatured unit when you're summoning on the carnival banners, but obviously the chances of that are very low. So don't skip him just because you think, oh well, I'm just going to be summoning loads during the anniversary, so I'll get him then, because you potentially won't. But bear in mind that it is a possibility. So by skipping him now doesn't mean you're going to have to necessarily wait like 6 months to get him. And of course, every future yellow coin or carnival banner, he will be unfeatured. So if we do get a carnival LR in December, like when we got Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks last year, this guy will be unfeatured on that banner as well. So there are chances for you to pull him before he returns as a proper featured unit. But I think skipping him, unfortunately, probably is the best if you are free to play or don't spend much on the game. You don't want to blow your whole anniversary fund to get this guy and then get to the anniversary and this guy still be good in the content, but then you can't get any of like the new anniversary units. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Do you plan to summon? Do you plan to skip? Are you going to wait till Saturday and use the free tickets first? I think that's probably a good idea. If you're on the fence about summoning and you think you want to drop a few stones, I would still say wait until Saturday for the free tickets, because then you might just get lucky and pull him off the tickets and then you don't need to spend any stones. But bear in mind, of course, that is a fairly low chance as well. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Are you summoning? Are you skipping? What is your plan? One copy and dip, or are you going all in? Let me know all your thoughts down below. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.